Hi, this is Prashant Gupta, continuation of consignment part 2. Today, ledger posting in the books of consigner and also in the books of consignee. Remembering journal entries somewhat a difficult task to the students. So here very easy approach, that is you go through the ledger postings and then you can able to remember the journal entries very easily. See, in ledger posting, in the books of consigner, we prepare consignment account, consignee account, goods sent on consignment account. Consignment account is a nominal account. Consignee account, personal account. Here consignee, you should write the name of the consignee. You should write name of the consignee. I took here universal name consignee. Here goods sent on consignment. These are the three necessary accounts in the books of consigner. In the books of consigner, necessary accounts. Now, first consignment. See, the serial number whatever I mentioned in the journal entries, same serial numbers I continued here also. Goods sent on consignment. Goods sent on consignment, cost price you should write. Okay na? Consigner expenses to bank. Consignee expenses, both recurring as well as non-recurring expenses. Consignee commission, it is the sixth one. Yes or no? Consignee commission. Profit or loss, difference between credit and debit. Consignee account, sales. Abnormal loss, always at cost. Closing stock, at cost or market price, whichever is lower. So you can able to remember very easily. Debit side, goods sent on consignment, to bank consignor expenses, to consignee expenses, to consignee commission, to profit and loss account. Credit side, by consignee, by abnormal loss, by closing stock. Very easy or not? So if you able to remember this one, you can write journal entries. See how. Consignment account debtor to goods sent on consignment account. Please check. Consignment account debtor to goods sent on consignment account. Number 2, consignment account debtor to bank consignor expenses. Go to number 3, bank or bills receivable account debtor to consignee. 4, consignment account debtor to consignee expenses incurred. 5th, consignee account debtor to consignment, being goods sold on consignment. 6th, consignment account debtor to consignee commission. 7th, abnormal loss account debtor to consignment account. Value of the abnormal loss, we will now compute the value of abnormal loss. Stock account debtor to consignment account is a closing stock. 9th, consignment account debtor to profit and loss account. So next 10th one, bank account debtor to consignee account, settlement. Goods sent on consignment account debtor to trading account, goods transfer to trading account. Goods sent on consignment transfer to trading account. See how very simple. If you can able to remember these ledgers, you can easily remember the journal entries. No need to roll study, no need to by heart. Just say look at these ledgers, then you can understand. And next one, regarding the consignee books, consigner account, consignee prepare consigner account, consigner prepare consignee account. Just simply is a mirror. See, I recorded sales on the debit side. Now in the consignee books, in consigner account, credit side. Here debit side, here credit side. Bank or bills receivable, here debit side. To bank, bills payable. Here expenses, to bank expenses. Here commission, see. Here buy consignment, that is a commission, here also commission. Here bank, here also bank. The bank amount, whatever you get in consignee, same amount also in the books of in the books of consignee, and then consignor account also same. Consignee account balance, consignor account balance same. Consignee account balance, consignor account balance, both are same only. So these are the ledger postings. Okay na? Now coming to the ledger journal entries over and ledger postings also over. Next coming to the calculation of abnormal loss, because abnormal loss and closing stock, these two are missing figures in every problem. So you have to calculate abnormal loss and closing stock. Now, so we will go to the abnormal loss calculation and closing stock. First you get the screenshot of this one. Okay, abnormal loss calculation. See, abnormal loss calculation is not ready-made values given in the problem. You have to compute the abnormal loss. While calculating loss, you have to consider two elements of loss. That is cost of goods lost, proportionate consignor expenses. These two are two elements of abnormal loss. This abnormal loss considering loss during transit. It is a unexpected loss but avoidable loss happened during transit. Abnormal loss recovered from the borne by the owner. Abnormal loss borne by the owner. Normal loss recovered from the customer. So this abnormal loss, generally what we have to do, we have to insure it. Okay. So when it is a burden on the owner, he will take an insurance policy to reduce his burden of loss. Okay, now first of all, we will calculate the abnormal loss. So there are two elements of computation of abnormal loss. One is cost of goods lost, proportionate consignor expenses. Okay, this abnormal loss during transit. Why I am insisting abnormal loss during transit? The reason is that abnormal loss may happen in consignee's go down also. In that case, we will take the consignee's proportionate non-recurring expenses also. Here abnormal loss in transit. That is why I did not take consignee non-recurring expenses. Reason loss happened in transit. It means consignee did not spend any amount on abnormal loss of goods. So before the goods reach the consignee, loss was happened. So that is why consignee expenses not considered. If the goods are reached the consignee and then abnormal loss, in that case you should take consignee's non-recurring expenses proportionately. Okay na? So I took a plain problem, that is abnormal loss during transit. Now how to compute? See, simply I explain. Now I explain through one illustration also. One, cost divided by cent minus normal loss. Cent means number of units sent. Now example, I sent for example 10,000 units at the rate of 10 rupees. 10,000 units at the rate of 10 rupees. It comes to 1 lakh. Now I will write here 1 lakh. 1 lakh. Now I take here cent in units, 10,000 units. Now normal loss. Right now I am not taking any normal loss. Just I am ignoring because we have to focus on the abnormal loss. Assume out of 10,000 units during transit, there are 500 units are lost. Okay, for easy calculation I take 1,000 units. Okay, so during transit 1,000 units are lost. Okay na? I take here 1,000 units. 1 lakh divided by 10,000 units. So in my example normal loss is nil, no normal loss. Okay na? Next one, consignor expenses, actually 10,000 rupees for total 10,000 goods. For sending total 10,000 goods, consignor incurred 10,000 rupees. I take here 10,000 rupees. For how many units? 10,000 units. I write here only 10,000 units. Normal loss is nil. Now how many units are lost in transit? 1,000. I take here 1,000 units. Now calculation, 1 lakh divided by 10,000, that is 10 rupees, into 1,000, 10,000 rupees. Next 10,000 rupees divided by 10,000 units, 1 rupee cost per unit, into how many units? 1,000. So 1,000. 10,000 plus 1,000, 11,000 your abnormal loss. I repeat once again, 10,000 units sent to consignee. At what rate? 10 rupees. 10,000 into 10, 1 lakh rupees. Okay na? Now divide by what? Cent. Divide by cent. How many units sent? 10,000 units. 10,000 minus. What is next here? Normal loss. In this problem, in this illustration, I not given any normal loss. 0. Fine, or nil. Next, how many units are lost in transit? In our example, 1,000 units lost into 1,000. Now see, 1 lakh divided by 10,000, 10 rupees. 10 rupees into how many units? 1,000. Value 10,000 rupees. Now consignor expenses, totally how much incurred? 10,000 rupees incurred. 10,000. For transporting how many goods? 10,000 units. 10,000 divided by 10,000. How many units are lost in transit? 1,000. 1,000. 10,000 divided by 10,000, 1 rupee. 1 rupee into 1,000 units, 1,000 rupees. 10,000 plus 1,000. Abnormal loss is here 11,000. So you have to take abnormal loss in the consignment account 11,000 irrespective of insurance. Your insurance, say for example, is 0. Your no insurance, still you take to the consignment account credit side 11,000 only. Example number 2. Your insurance, say for example, covered insurance only 6,000. Still you take in the consignment account 11,000 only. Now for example, third example, your insurance amount is around 12,000, more than loss. Don't ask me, is it possible in practical? It is possible in practically. So more than 11,000, that is 12,000 your insurance. Your insurance is 12,000. Your actual abnormal loss is 11,000. Still, I consider in consignment account credit side by abnormal loss 11,000. Don't take 12,000. It is restricted to the cost of abnormal loss only. Okay, na? So this is calculation of the abnormal loss. Same unsold stock calculation also same. Only one extra point is covered, that is consignee non-recurring expenses you have to consider. Here consignee non-recurring expenses not consider because on these last units consignee not spent any amount. So before the goods reached to the consignee, loss happened, so consignee not spent any amount. After goods reach to the consignee, if there is any abnormal loss, then you should consider consignee's non-recurring expenses proportionately. Only non-recurring expenses. I told you now when explaining the I think part 1, why the classification of consignee expenses into recurring and non-recurring. The reason is that here we have to consider only direct expenses, non-selling expenses, product expenses. Non-recurring expenses or direct expenses, okay na, product expenses. Okay, we should consider only direct expenses. Okay, that is why only we classified into the non-recurring and recurring expenses. While coming to the unsold stock calculation, same only the difference is that here you have to take unsold stock units. Now for example, out of 10,000, 1,000 units are lost in transit. How many units are delivered to consignee? 9,000. Assume for example 7,000 units sold by consignee. So how many goods are still unsold? 2,000 units. Still unsold 2,000 units. This is called as closing stock. Now same one, cost 1 lakh, 10,000 units, normal loss is 0, my unsold stock is 2,000 units. Okay na? Now how much comes to you? 20,000. Next here consignor expenses 10,000, center 10,000 units, normal loss 0, unsold stock 2,000 units. Now it comes to you 2,000 rupees. Now here we consider consignee non-recurring expenses. Now I take for example consignee non-recurring expenses. Example only 9,000. Example. Received how much? 9,000. See, 10,000 sent units sender. How many units are lost in transport? 1,000. So goods reached to consignee how much? 9,000. Here in the denominator you take only received portion, please. 9,000 rupees. 9,000 units. How many units are unsold? 2,000 units are unsold. So it is comes to you 2,000. 20,000 plus 2,000 plus 2,000 rupees. Totally 24,000 your closing stock. Your abnormal loss is 11,000. Your unsold stock is 24,000. What is the difference between abnormal loss calculation and unsold stock calculation? Only consignee's non-recurring expenses not considered in the abnormal loss calculation but considered in the closing stock calculation. Getting a? So this is abnormal loss and closing stock calculation. So now these are the part 3 is over. Part 3 is over. Now balance, if any, will continue what you class in my online classes only. So these are the part 3 only I am covering. for YouTube classes purpose, only 3 parts only considered, and for the problematics, etc., and other points to be remembered, all things will be covered in my online classes. Thank you.